Welcome to the Wander Podcast. I'm your host, Gracie Hins. If you're new here, we're a podcast dedicated to sharing the story of the outdoors, including conversations with creatives, athletes, and anyone else that I think has an interesting story. Today, I am chatting with Sydney Peterson, a trail runner from Crested, Butte, Colorado. And in this conversation, we chat about her year as a whole, including signing with Brooks, and then all of the epic things that she got up to, including running at Broken Arrow and World Trail Running Championships. I hope that you enjoy this conversation, and without further ado, here it is. The first question that I always ask everyone to just kick it off is, who are you and what do you spend your time doing?
Yeah, so my name is Sydney, and I'm just kind of a mountain girl, born and raised. Grew up in Crested, Butte, Colorado. So spoiled, so lucky. It's like the best thing that will probably ever happen to me in my life. And I think that's a huge kind of like the first thing I like to say when I introduce myself, because it kind of explains how I spend a lot of my time. I'm a professional trail runner for Brooks, so love spending time outside training and playing in the mountains, and then spend a lot of time just with my people and in my community, and it's a great life.
Did you grow up doing mountain sports, being raised in
No,
Crested Butte?
I grew up like, but both of my parents are big ski bums, and that's why they decided to raise their family in Crested Butte. And my brother like dabbled. I have a twin brother, and he dabbled in professional skiing for a few years, and both my brothers are like incredible skiers. So skiing was our family thing growing up. But I actually played all team sports and got into running really late. I like played basketball and volleyball and literally everything other than the mountain sports, where I was like just in this beautiful place. I don't know why I was like playing basketball and volleyball other than like my friends were doing it and it was really fun. Um, but yeah, like I grew up doing mountain things, but was way more into the team sports until like later on in high school, where I found running and track, and found out I kind of had a natural ability at that. But I honestly attribute some of like a lot of my later success in running to just starting later and having a team sport background, and developing as a just as a well-rounded athlete as a whole, and not just specializing in one thing. So
Wait, okay, elaborate more on that. How do you feel like the team sports like play into being a better runner?
well, I guess like less so with trail running, but running is just the same movement pattern over and over and over again. And I think that repetitive nature of it is can be really hard on your body over time. And yeah, basketball, volleyball, all these team sports, you're moving in a like lateral pattern, and you're moving your body, and it's just a way different motor and more complex like motor skill set, I guess. And I think that developed me as an athlete, but also just I was really excited about running when I found it. Um, and was not burned out at all. And I also had like hit puberty and was developed, and like my body was like ready to train like by the time I had found it. So
Wait, so when did you start running? Was it later high school or was it like college?
I dabbled like with track kind of late middle school, but would run like the 200 and the 4x2, and like didn't really do distance running. But kind of found it in high school, started taking it seriously my junior year of high school. And then I walked on to Colorado State's cross country and track team. And that's where I got really, really into it and was like, okay, I love this.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I always loved the mountains and kind of dipped my feet into trail running throughout college and when I came back home for the summers and stuff. And um, knew that like after college that I would want to kind of try out the trail running thing.
Well, I'm curious too, like when you, because okay, your parents were ski bums and then brother did like mountain things. Do you feel like any part of you was almost like the way that my sister always was with our family and like mountain sports is she'd kind of just be like, I'm not gonna do this because like this is what all of you guys are doing. So do you feel like there was any element of like kind of like choosing the team sport route just because like it was what everybody else wasn't doing?
It was that much like what my immediate family was doing. My aunt
Yeah.
was a really good runner. She like ran at North Carolina and trail ran before it was cool and like won all these races and way back in the day. So I knew like
Wait,
I
that's
had
so
the
badass.
genetics for it. She's so cool.
Yeah.
I knew I had the genetics for it, but like was never really like maybe a little bit of that like, oh, I want to forge my own path, but also just I don't know, sport was then and still is like such a thing of community for me, and all of my best friends growing up like played basketball and volleyball, and for me it was like yes about moving my body but also just spending time with my people, and all of my people did team sports, and so that's kind of where I found myself.
So then you're doing cross country and competing collegiately. Were you like as you kind of kept progressing in that, were you seeing a lot of success in the collegiate world? I'm imagining yes. And then like when you were thinking about like life after college, like was the professional running thing like really on your mind? Like was that like okay, like I really want to push that goal, or like kind of like how were you thinking about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like it's so hard to define success in the NCAA system, and especially the Division One side of things, because it's just so competitive and everybody is so good. And I was like way middle of the pack, and I talk about it now. And you see like all the girls crushing in sub ultra right now. You have like Anna, Courtney, Lauren, and they were all like all American, like top of the top of Division One, and I was like making conference teams and like scoring like 1 point at conference and like so stoked. Like I was not in that same league as them at all. But I think I had a later start into running, and I got better every single year. Like I PR'd every single year and just like learned how to train really sustainably and train hard but do it in a good way, and um never really burned out with it. And I kind of alluded to this already, but after college I like knew kind of I would love to do trail running, but professional running was like not on the horizon for me at all. Right after college, I was living in Fort Collins still, and my mom and I, who my mom runs, but not like competitively, but she's a total badass. We were both agreed, like while I was in college, like let's do the Imogene Pass run from Ouray to Telluride together, and
Oh, that's
um,
cute.
so we did that, and that went really well and was kind of like almost a spiritual experience for me because it was like, oh, I'm really, really good at trail running, but also I just love spending time in the mountains and with my family. And it's so cool. I can be on a starting line with my mom and have it be this family thing. And my boyfriend was there and he's also super into the trail running thing. So it was just like a really special thing. And that I think that experience made me realize I had talent, yes, but also just like I want to train to keep having these experiences in the mountains with people I love. Um, and so I like graduated college, got a full time like big girl job. I was graduating college kind of with the mindset that I wanted to be like an orthopedic physician assistant. So I was working as a medical assistant for a hand surgeon in Fort Collins and was just kind of like not on the professional running track at all. And then moved back home to kind of save money after a year of doing that and started working a different clinical job at a physical therapy clinic in Gunnison and just to be closer to my family. And my boyfriend Taylor Stack and I started going to all these trail races. Like we went to Broken Arrow and kind of got had our first big break there, and both had amazing races
Was
last
this
year.
last year or 2 years ago?
It was
Okay, okay, that
last
makes
year,
sense.
and
Yeah.
he like Taylor did better than I did, but he got fourth in the 23K, and everybody was like, "Who is this guy?" And I think I got like sixth or seventh or something. And they were like, "Who are these people?" And so, but we were both like, yeah, just working normal people, and I don't know, kind of got connected with Brooks at the end of last year, and that really changed everything. Just like having the support of a brand, and also just having somebody believe in you when you're not by any means the best one, but to see your potential, and then back it up with the financial support to travel the world, like, what a dream come true. And I think that support has led to a lot of the results that I was able to come by this year. And so, yeah, this year was like better than like anything I could have hoped for. And like everybody has that dream of like, oh, I want to be a professional athlete, but I feel like I kind of stumbled upon it and I just have so much gratitude for that.
When you and Taylor like were at when you guys raced Broken Arrow last year, what was it really just like showing up to the race is like this is just a really cool way to kind of like test ourselves and like see how we stack up against people, or like what was the kind of like mentality going into that last year?
We were like we'd done some local Colorado races like the Imogene Pass Run, a run through time in Salida, just like all super mellow Colorado races where no professionals are going to. And we kind of saw like some hype around Broken Arrow, and we're like, that would be really fun to go to and just like race some fast people. But we had no idea that Broken Arrow was like what Broken Arrow is and like just how elite it actually is. And I think we didn't realize it until after we raced, honestly, and kind of just went in blind. And
Yeah.
we literally
You're
like
like looking at the names and you're like, oh my gosh.
well, we also like didn't know. Like I'm not someone to really like check start lists, and I kind of just like went in like all happy go lucky, and then I was like, oh, this person's like really fast. Like I probably shouldn't be running with them, but like here we are. I guess we'll keep going, and ended up having a really good day. And we literally like drove from Fort Collins to Truckee in Taylor's truck, and we're like camping out of the back of it, and just like yeah, like had no idea that it was gonna be what it was, and that was kind of our it's so funny to think that, like, that's our big break, and, like, that was what got us into this
That is
life
wild.
we're running is now.
So then how did the two of you get connected with Brooks, and like was that a conversation that you like were you guys both having the conversations with Brooks at the same time?
Yeah, it was kind of, like, a very natural progression, like, one of the people who's on the Brooks team now kind of introduced us to Brooks,
Mhm.
and it was just a very natural, good fit from the start. I always joke, I don't know if you've seen the movie Step Brothers, but, like, when they're, like, interviewing as a
Oh, I
pair
haven't.
for all the
I need
jobs.
to.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but,
I can
like,
imagine
we're
it.
kinda doing it together, but, yeah, it was a super natural progression, and I just have so much gratitude that we ended up with them because they've been s Brooks is just incredible, like, they make incredible gear, but also just the people behind it are what make it great, so
No, seriously. I know, I'm like, I feel like this podcast is just becoming like a Brooks fan club. Because I feel like whenever I talk with you guys, I'm just like, wow, like it seems like the perfect group of people, like so genuinely, like just seems like the
Mhm.
most rad group of people. And the fact that like you and Taylor are also just like on the same team, like how, I don't know, like how has that been too? And then like you have Anna and Courtney, where I'm just like, you have like the most ideal like support system like possible at the moment. And you
Yeah,
guys are like all Brooks.
it's so cool, and yeah, like I was talking about why I found running so late, and it was just because of the community I had in other sports and in team sports. And that community still is like, and people are still the reason like why I do this, and spending time in the mountains, obviously, too. But
Yeah.
I don't know, to be like on the same professional team with my like partner, and then also like Anna and Courtney and I didn't know we laugh about this now, but like we didn't know each other until like March of this year. And I consider them like two of my best friends now and like lifelong friends. And to
I
just
know,
like
I love
have
this fun
that
fact.
happen so randomly is just incredible. And to like have
Yeah.
the support of just like such an incredible group of women, and then yeah, just have all of my people associated with Brooks is just so cool. So
Mhm. Well, and did you start with them just the beginning of this year?
yes.
Okay. Yeah. So first year, very, very
Yeah.
exciting. Well, and then like what was kind of like going into this year when you were like looking at the year, looking at the calendar, what was kind of like some of the initial things that you were super excited about? And then like what did the year like kind of end up being for you?
Yeah. I guess we kind of, I say we as in like Taylor and I, because we picked all the same races together. But we kind of structured our seasons around making the Golden Trail final, but our A goal was to make the world's team. And so we went to Desert Rats, 20K, just because it's close to us in Colorado and kind of as a rest buster race. And then we did Sunapee Scramble, which was the U.S. qualifier for the classic race. And then I did Broken Arrow, VK, and 23K. And then we went out to Europe and did um, Austria and Sierra Zanal. And then like the Broken Arrow, 23K, and those two races were our qualifying races for the Golden Trail final. So it was like best case scenario, we maybe make one of those. But none of my results from last year would have indicated me having this season I had. So yeah, I feel really lucky that things turned out the way they did. I remember Taylor made the team at Sunapee for Worlds. And like we had all spring we were like, we have to make Worlds, like we have to both make Worlds. And then he went and did it at that race. And I was like, well, Broken Arrow, I gotta make it happen. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it was actually really cute. I was like Instagram stalking you before this, and that was like one of the things that I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the most wholesome thing because you like had your post that was like, oh my gosh, like Taylor made the world's team, like so excited he's gonna be out in Spain. And then it's like a couple posts later, it's like, I made the world's team, and like now we're gonna be out there together. And I was just like, oh my gosh, that's like so cool that you guys get to support each other in that way. Well, and then just the fact that everyone got to be out at Worlds. Like you got to be out at Worlds. Everyone else on Brooks got to be at Worlds. Taylor was at Worlds. Were you out there quite a bit? Well, and then wait, yeah, and then Golden Trail too. Holy cow! Wow, that's like insane actually. Like now I'm thinking about that. I'm like, whoa, like, and that's crazy too. Just like how well like both of your schedules just like perfectly aligned and like everything went right in every way. How was the end of the year, like the combo of doing Worlds and then going to Golden Trail final? And did Taylor get third in the overall for men? No, he got third
Yeah.
at in
Fourth.
fourth
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
overall or in the okay, yeah, that's crazy. That is super crazy.
Yeah. It was, I mean, just honestly, this sounds so cliche, but just such a great dream come true. Like getting to compete at a
Yeah.
world championship is like every athlete's dream, regardless of what sport you're in. And to realize that with all your people there and just such a beautiful place. Like Confranc is just, and like the Pyrenees are just so cool. Was just really, really, really special. And um, just kind of had the goal of like, let's be present with this experience because this is literally everything you've hoped and dreamed of achieving in your whole life, and it's happening. So, Worlds was incredible. And then all of us stayed out there because it was like, why do we go home when we're all going
Yeah.
to, back to the Golden Trail final like 2 weeks later? So, Taylor and I went and explored. We went to Torla, Spain, kind of in the like really close to Confranc, like right on the French and Spain border or France
Okay.
and Spain border, and stayed
Is it
there
like
for
a little bit south?
um it's like right on the border. Like we did a run that went from Spain to France and then back into Spain. So
Okay,
very
got it.
close, but yeah. And then we went over to Arco, Italy, and it was like Courtney, Taylor, and I all hanging out there, and it was just like all of us kind of going around Europe together. It just, yeah, it was so cool. And Ledro, where the Golden Trail final was just so beautiful and kind of a race in terrain I've never experienced before. So a really cool learning experience as an athlete, and definitely like poked some holes in my armor and made me like reflect on what I can do better for next year and just like areas I need to
Oh.
improve. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. What were some of those reflections?
Oh gosh. I just need to do a lot more strength training. Like, I mean, you're you look at these courses we're running and they're just I don't know if you saw any of the footage from the Golden Trail final of just how technical it was
Oh
and
yeah. It was
um
it was super fun footage. They did a good job on that.
yeah,
Just
and
like the shots of like the full like ridge with the background, it was cool. But yeah,
yeah,
it's gnarly terrain.
super gnarly terrain and I think just like for my longevity in the sport and then also just like to make racing these really technical big races sustainable, like I need to do that to keep my body like in tip top condition and then um yeah, just keep working on that technical downhill running. So definitely like made me set some goals for this next year for sure.
Well, and next year, are you like what are you aiming for next year?
It's not a world's year next year, so I think aiming to do really well in the Golden Trail races. I don't have a I'd love to go to Chamonix for UCMB week and do ETC. I need to sit down and actually like
Mhm.
think of a calendar, but that's kind of what I'm scheming. Yeah.
Well, and have they released any of the Golden Trail calendar for next year?
They have not, no. So, waiting on that for sure.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. Well, and I'm kind of curious, like from your perspective too, like from a, I mean, I feel like Golden Trail is so unique because it's so Golden Trail, like it's so media heavy, it's so like Solomon, obviously, but like from your perspective too, especially, I just feel like going from like kind of having the contrast of like the world's vibes for back of letter ter- for lack of better terms, like you have like your world's vibes and then you have like your Golden Trail vibes. So I don't know, like what are some things that like you enjoy about both but are like different? That's kind of a funky question, but you can take that
Yeah.
wherever you want to.
No, that's a great question, and I think to, like, explain for people who weren't in either of those places, like, Golden Trail is just
Yeah.
very, like you're saying, media heavy and, it's about this same circuit of athletes, whereas Worlds is just about all these different countries. And I feel like for me, Worlds was really special because there's just so much going on in the world. And I feel like so many things about the world are so polarized right now. And so to just be in a place with people from so many
Mhm.
different countries, so many different backgrounds, so many different languages, and to just be like, we're actually all human and we're not all that different. And I'm here with so many people who love running and they're
Mhm.
so different from me, but we all have this shared passion was just a really special, like, kind of hope giving thing. And yeah, I think that was my main takeaway from Worlds and to just, yeah. Um, that at Worlds too, you do a T-shirt exchange at the end, and everybody like exchanges gear from different countries, and it's just really, yeah,
Yeah.
it's super special. And then Golden Trail's much more, what's the word? Like you're just with a smaller group of people, but there's a lot of focus and intensity and support within that, and I think Golden Trail does a really good job of like supporting athletes media wise and really helping them like build up a brand and give race footage and stuff that helps athletes make that next step, especially athletes like myself and
Mm.
like Taylor who like
Yeah.
are new to it and still in the process of all that. And that's really, really cool and something that like I think a lot of people take for granted but shouldn't be. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting statement. And um I don't know, I feel like that's been something that like I've been thinking about a lot of like how is it that this is like multiple side tangents, but I'm just going to give you all of them. But I've been like thinking about that a lot of like how can like events as a whole do a better job of like both supporting the athlete, the event, maybe bringing in and like supporting like the photographer whoever has like the vision, and then also supporting like the media outlet itself. And I think that was something that like I think about that a lot, like with Dylan and Free Trail, and like they've done such a good job of that because it's like on the ground interviewing people, getting like media in that way, and then you get like your before and after picture. But I feel like that's been something that I've been like trying to play around with, the idea of like how could we do that at like Wander, of like this whole year has been like kind of like a test trial year. But then I was like, dude, like what if this is my hope and dream for next year. Like what if you could show up to like, I mean, like you have your Broken Trail Con Western week, but like what if you could show up and have almost just like kind of like more of like a content wash sort of situation, where like you could show up with like a really cool backdrop, and you could have like multiple backdrops. You could even get like an artist to like paint one of these cool backdrops so it like just looks really cool. And then you could like be interviewing people and doing like shorter interviews or longer interviews, but then also just have like cool photos that people can like take away, because it's like you just don't always get the content that you need. Um, Anyways, that's my idea. And I feel like Golden Trail does do a really good job of that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No,
Um,
yeah, I love that because
but
it's the
yeah, like
stories
thinking
that
of more
matter.
ways.
Yeah, and that's one
Yeah,
thing like
exactly.
Golden Trail has done really well. Like for Taylor, for example, like they've really done a good job telling his story
Yeah.
of like this rookie who kind of came out of nowhere but then is dominating and just have and it's easy with Golden Trail. I think as an outsider looking in, I'm just saying this, but um because they have the same group of athletes to follow throughout the year, so it's a really cool opportunity to tell a story. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love like where your head's at with
Yeah.
Wander, and like I do think that Broken Arrow, Western States, TrailCon, like few weeks there is such a cool opportunity to like really tell the stories of some athletes, and everybody's in the same place at the same time, so some really cool stuff can happen there.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm like, there's so many people in one spot for 10 days straight. It's wild.
So
Do you
fun.
feel like you had like a favorite event from this year that you were at?
I think Broken Arrow, just on so many different levels, because it was really a moment in my career where I think I proved to myself that I can do really hard things and like do things I don't even think I'm capable of. And I mean, that was a moment where like all of making that world's team, like all of my like wildest dreams were coming true, but also like leading up to that, I thought I was
Mm-hmm.
injured and literally didn't run for the 2 weeks leading up to the race. And then I ended up being fine, but
Oh my
kind of
gosh.
just
Whoa.
proving to myself like
Yeah.
I have the mentality that it takes to perform at this level, and like not get in my head when things maybe aren't going to plan, not needing things to be a certain way. And so that was just a really big turning point
Yeah.
in my career, like performance wise, but also just looking inwards, and nobody else can see that, but just like a big mental shift in and confidence shift really. So
Mm-hmm. No, I mean that's huge. Like the mental side of everything is more than half the battle.
yeah, and just I mean, everybody feels like an imposter at some point in their life, but truly like feeling like you belong, and like that's a huge performance enhancer. And I feel like races after that, I started feeling like I actually belonged in these races. Like obviously I was on the starting line, but like I truly felt like I deserved to be there, and that is like the biggest performance enhancer of them all. And so that's why I just look back at that Broken Arrow weekend as like a really like I reflect really fondly on it. So
Yeah, that's cool. Well, so then how, I'm curious because you are still working. So like what job are you working right now? And then
yeah, so
like
I
what is your work schedule, training schedule like at the moment too?
yeah, so I like work for the best people, and so generally like I work in healthcare. I'm still working at the same physical therapy clinic, kind of as a tech front desk. Um, kind of help wherever person. And so I do a lot of like I work with a patient for maybe half of their visit. I can't do any like diagnostic stuff or like dry needling or anything, but I can do like a lot of progression and stuff with people. And I don't know, it's just super rewarding.
Mhm.
I like am trying to find my exact direction like in my not running career, and I love healthcare. I think it's just really I love working with people, and Gunnison County is just so rural, and I think I have a really like special spot in my heart for rural medicine. You're just working with people who choose like
Yeah.
ranchers that have been there for since like the 1800s. Their families have been there, and skiers and just people who live their life in a very similar way that you do and have a very like cool set of values, for lack of better words. And um we all kind of collectively choose to live in this really small community, and to be able to give back in that way is really special to me. And you just see a lot of stuff too. Like you go to work every day and you see people going through hard things, and I think that's really honestly helped my running, because it makes me realize that running
Mhm.
is like this incredible thing and a mechanism to like do a lot of good in the world, but also it's not
Mm.
I never make it bigger in my head than it actually is, and I think a lot of athletes struggle with that. And it just makes like running a really big, like, I guess, source of joy in my life. And also, yeah, it isn't always easy because I do work like relatively full time, and so balancing that with training, like you got to have good time management. And I do a lot of headlamp runs and skis and stuff, especially this time of year. But it's about
Yeah.
building a life that like brings you joy with your sport and then without your sport too. And I'm trying to be very intentional about that. And um, I love the team I work with. I love my coworkers, and they are so supportive of my running, and just like giving me the time off I need for races, and like helping me adapt my schedule to train
Mhm.
well, and kind of, yeah, like have like goals in both my like athletic life and not athletic life. And I really couldn't do it without the support of like the people around me. So it's really cool.
Mhm. Well, and it does just make it I feel like it is easier to kind of what you were saying, just, like, take it not as seriously or, like, not get as stressed out almost about, like, either path because you have them almost, like, balancing out the other in a way, where it's like you can kind of have, like, your work world and then you can have, like, your running world, and it's kinda nice when not all of those things, like, are meshing all at the same time, all the time.
Yeah, yeah, and they feed off of each other too. Like I truly believe they enhance each other. And I just remember like going to this race last year, and it was like right after daylight savings, and most of my runs had been in the dark, and just a lot of my training had been in the dark and alone. And like I remember showing up to the race, and I was like, I literally don't even care how this goes. I'm just so excited to run in the sunlight and be outside. And I ended up running like really well, because it's just like it takes the pressure off, and it's just like a step out and like picking your head up and realizing that the world's a lot bigger than like our tiny little trail running community that we love. But it's, yeah, it's cool.
Mhm. Do you have any tips or tricks for people who are now going to be running in the dark for the next like 3 months? How do you keep it exciting?
I guess if you're running in the morning, get dressed before you do anything, and then like go drink your coffee or something, and
Mm,
that just helps you move. But I guess I just
hmm.
always tell myself like I'm never motivated to get up and run in the morning. Maybe like one day of the week I am, or after work. This goes for that too. But you just never regret it. Like at like yes, it's important for your training plan and stuff, but like looking beyond that, like it just makes you feel good and is so good for your mind and your body. And yeah, you never regret moving your body. So that's where I start, like when I'm really unmotivated and it's dark and
This is true.
cold and bad weather. And yeah, we just love being in the mountains, and it'll make your day great. So
This is true. Do you do any like do you ski in the winter too?
Yes, yes. I like don't compete in skimo or skiing, but I use it as a really big training tool. So I love skinning up. There is like ski resort in the morning before I go to work or Nordic skiing.
Mm-hmm.
I think like one of the most peaceful things and like one of my like favorite things in life is like skinning up with a headlamp in the morning and like watching the sunrise, and it's just so peaceful and so beautiful, and it's like the cold air just wakes you up, and I don't know, it's just incredible.
Because what ski resort is right now? What ski resort is in Crested Butte again? I
It's
always
just like
forget the name. Or is it
Crested
just the
Butte.
Crested? No, it's not the Crested Butte ski resort. Oh, it
Yeah,
is. Okay, okay. Yeah, I feel like I have a good family friend that lives there, and I have been saying for years that I'm gonna come out and ski in the winter. Um, and it's like ever so slightly too far away to where I have not come yet. It's like so high up on my list because I only hear amazing things.
yes, yes, come visit. I would love to show you around.
I know, it looks amazing. I'm also just curious, like from like just from this year too, like spending long days in the mountains and like places that you've just loved. Like what are some of the runs that like weren't races that like I don't know, maybe you and Taylor were on just like in between time in Europe or just like training, like some other like highs that weren't just like race affiliated.
I love this question so much. Thank you so much for asking it. I think one of my favorites is Courtney Coppinger, like, texted me the night before, like, I think I got off of work and it was a Friday, and Taylor was in town, and, she was like, "I'm gonna be in Crested Butte tomorrow. Do you want a long run?" And we did this insane route. Like, I don't know, for people listening to this that are familiar with Crested Butte, like up straight up this route called the plunge, which is
Mhm.
basically a VK, and then it's just this long ridge run out Scarps Ridge down Obie Joyful, and then back into the town of Crested Butte, and it's like this beautiful 20-mile loop with 5,000 vert, and we just like jumped in this lake in the middle of it, and it just turned into a really fun adventure day. So that's definitely a
Yeah.
highlight. Um, oh gosh, we did like an unofficial Team USA training camp halfway through the summer as well in Buena Vista. And
Hmm.
all of us have such crazy lives and so much going on. And it was so cool that so many people prioritized it. Cam Smith kind of spearheaded that one. So big shout out to him for that. But we all,
Hmm.
like both sub ultra, I guess like classic and uphill teams, men and women, mostly were there. And we were all going out for this run. The men ended up going all the way up and summiting Harvard and Columbia, and then I broke up with off with Courtney and Anna, and we kind of went to our own spot. But we started this run, and I think there
Hmm.
were like 25 of us maybe, and we ran into two of my college friends in the parking lot, just super randomly, like at the same time, and it was just all these
Yeah.
people from so many different eras of my life, like, and most of us had just like made Team USA, and I was like, wow, this is just so cool. All of us starting this run together, and everybody was talking and getting to know each other. And I honestly think, like, outside of racing, that
Hmm.
was probably my highlight of this summer. Just like all these people from so many different eras of my life meeting and super randomly and on this like beautiful trail run. And it was just really cool.
Good people, good runs, good views. Doesn't really get that much better than that.
No, not at all.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay, follow-up question to that. Um, Out of the places that you traveled, where did you eat the best food?
Oh my gosh. Okay. When we got to Italy, at like we had a horrible travel day, Taylor and I, and um we were in Arco, Italy in
What
this
was
like
so terrible about the travel day?
I think we just expected it to be like we traveled from the United States to Spain, and that was just like you expect that to be a horrible travel day. And then you're like, "Oh, I'm in Europe. I'm going to fly from Spain to Italy and then like take all these trains and stuff. It's not going to be that bad." And then that still
Mhm.
took like 12 hours. And so I think I was just
Oh
expecting it to
gosh.
be a
Yeah,
lot
that's pretty
better than
terrible.
it was. But nothing like happened or anything.
Mhm.
And I was so hungry, and we like finally found our Airbnb and then just wandered into this town and found this amazing Italian place, and I had the best pasta dish of my life. And I think it I don't even like sardines, but it had sardines in it, and it was like this cream sauce and had capers and stuff, and just the like most memorable meal of my life. So yeah.
Dude, the sardine capers combo is actually so good. I think I had that
Yes.
on a
Yes.
pizza recently. I don't remember where. I feel like it might have actually been in Spain after Worlds. And I was like, this is actually such a good combo. Like I wouldn't have thought of it. I'd probably never put it on my pizza at home, but it was like so good. The like saltiness of both of them, oh, amazing.
I love it. Yes, yes. Italy got me on a capers kick. Like I'll make a cream cheese bagel and just like dump a bunch of capers on it now, or like I just it's my favorite thing to add to food now after that trip.
Mhm. It's so good. Yeah. What was your guys' Sierra Zinal experience?
Sears and all, like just what an honor to be at that race. Like first and foremost, like it is just so iconic, and the history there is just really really cool. Also, side note, I've wanted to do this race for so long. I keep like bringing
Yeah.
back like the Crested Butte community to it, but there's a teacher at the school, and there's like one school in Crested Butte because it's so small. Her name's Stevie Kramer, and she used to run for Solomon and won that race back in like 2014, I think was the year. 2012, 2014, somewhere in
Wait,
there.
that is such
In
a
this
fun,
tiny
good
town.
fact.
And she's like
Yeah.
lives in the same neighborhood as me. She was never my teacher, but like was always such a good mentor to me, like kind of as I was getting into running, and like yeah, works with my mom and is just like such a cool person. Like does the running thing and is world class, like winning Sierras and all, but also is a second grade teacher and just gives so much back to her
Mhm.
community, and an all-star person. But she did that and always spoke so highly of that race. So it was kind of a full circle moment for me to be back and be like, oh my gosh, somebody I look up to so much did this race and won it. And this tiny town of Crested Butte, like two of us have done this now. And it's just really, really cool. My race
Oh,
didn't
that's
go
so
great
cool.
that day, but I think was just like the disappointment in that outcome was replaced by just the energy there. Like I woke up at 5 that morning of race morning, and there was like sound of spectators like echoing off of the mountains in that tiny little canyon. And just the energy on the course, like yes,
Mhm.
we're running that race, but people hiked up to the top, like they hiked 5,000 feet of elevation to just like go cheer at the top of that course. And I just love being in Europe and in places where people are as excited about this sport as I am. And in the US, like outside of our immediate trail running circle, like people just think it's a nerdy sport. And in Europe, like people are just really big fans
Mhm.
of it, think it's so cool. And to just that energy is super contagious. And to be a part of that was just a really big gift.
Mhm. Yeah, it looks insane, and I feel like, yeah, as I really wanna go next year and shoot it, I
Yes.
think.
Come
I'm like
out.
that and Zagama are both just, like, races that I know, I'm like, they're both just races that I feel like I've seen the more you see it and hear about it, the more you're just like, "Oh my gosh, like, I just need to go and, like, experience it in both of those races." I'm just like, "I think I need to go and experience both of those next year because they just look so freaking cool." And, like, what you're saying, it's just, like, seeing people so excited about the sport that you love, makes such a big difference, and, like, you just don't really get that in the US. Like, you get to see that a little bit at some races, but not at all the extent that you get it in Europe.
Well, I'll be out at both of those races. At least that's my like very rough
Okay,
planned.
perfect.
So
Fantastic.
I'll see you out there.
I'm throwing them on Gracie's tentative calendar.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, gotta piece those one together. Yeah. That would be really cool though. Yeah, well, and then just like I'm curious too, like you and Taylor, just like how, like, what is it like to just like having such similar schedules? Like, I imagine it's just this really cool support system of like being able to kind of like fully understand what that other person is thinking. But did you guys, like, when you first started dating, were you both really intensively trail running, or was it like how, yeah, I just want to hear about that. Also, give like a little rundown on who Taylor is for people who are listening. Like, he is just like killing it right now. So we need a little Taylor shout out.
Yes. So back up, Taylor Stack, who I keep mentioning, is my boyfriend, and he joined Brooks the same time that I did, and has just had such a breakout, like rookie of the year kind of year. He finished 12th in the world
Yeah.
at World Championships in the classic race. He finished third in Austria at that Golden Trail race, and he finished fourth overall in the Golden Trail final rankings. And it's just like he's so consistent. Is just such a competitive, and it's so fun to watch him race. And he's just super excited about the sport. So to back up from that, we started, I guess, dating when I was in my last year in Fort Collins, and he running at CSU, and he went to Western Colorado University, which is in Gunnison, which is also very close to where I grew up. And
Oh, okay.
he ran track and cross country there, like casually was a national champion in the steeplechase, but then moved to Fort Collins to kind of pursue his career, started grad school, completely like retired from running for a year. And his grad programs in fish, like conservation biology, with like an emphasis and focus on his project was focused on fish biology, specifically. But as I was finishing up my like track and cross country career, he slowly like started getting back into training, and we just started kind of going to all these trail races together, and it slowly kind of evolved and became what it was as our relationship was like evolving. And so it's really cool. It's something we've really
Mm-hmm.
grown together. And now it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's so like to be able to do all this traveling and just experience this with your person is the best thing ever, and probably one of the best things I'm ever going to do in my life. But also just from a training standpoint, he holds me so accountable, and I think we both hold each other accountable, and there's kind of just like this performance culture like in our relationship, like, okay, we're going to go train, and it just to share so much of your life with somebody, but also have running such a big part of it. It just is very seamless and easy and really cool. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and it's cool too because it's like you just want to see the other person be like the best that they possibly can be. And so it's cool to see that like both mixed kind of like running professionally, but then also just like relationally. That's super cool. Yeah.
yes, yes. And it's so fun at races too, because
Mm-hmm.
like if one of us doesn't race well, usually the other one does. And so it's like, well, I didn't race well, but at least Taylor did. So I'll just be excited about that and forget my own race and vice versa. So he never
That's
really
so
has
fair.
bad races though. He's so
Yeah.
consistent. Yeah.
It's pretty fun though. Do the two of you have any like non-running related winter plans together?
So we haven't signed up for it yet, but there's this ski race from Crested Butte to Aspen that I have wanted to do since I was literally like 10 years old,
Oh,
called the Grand Traverse.
wait, what is it called again?
The Grand
Yes.
Traverse, yeah. So, and it's a
Yes, yeah.
partner race, which is so cool because it's in the backcountry, and like you need to be with somebody just from a safety standpoint. And so there's a male category, a female category, and then a male female category. And so we've thrown around the idea of maybe doing
Yeah.
that. For sure we're doing the alley loop, and that is just like an iconic, super festive, not competitive Nordic ski race event in Crested Butte where they basically groom all the
Mhm.
alleys and roads in the town with snow and then connect it with
Mhm.
the Nordic trails. And it's a costume race. And they have everything from a 1K through a marathon distance. I think there's like 5 or 6 different
Mhm.
distances, and we did that last year, and it's so fun. So we're gonna do that again. And then I think just ski and run and be outside, and um, that's those are our only tentative plans as of now. So
Dude, the Grand Traverse would be so cool. I think I heard about that. I think there was a Dirtbag Diaries episode actually on that, and I think I listened to it like a year ago. And it was, I think, interviewing the founder of it, the guy that started it, and like how he's done it every single year. And I just remember like listening to that and thinking like, oh my gosh, like that just seems like so cool and like such a cool just like community event that is like an insane objective, but just like so neat.
yeah, yeah, so cool. And I've literally like remember it starts at midnight to like paint a picture because it's in the kind of spring where avalanche
Mm-hmm.
danger is safer, but you want to like start early and be ahead of the temperatures rising. Um, And I remember being up there as a 10-year-old, like, and teachers at this school do it. Like, you're talking about people doing it every single year since it started. Like, my middle school English teacher is one of those people, and just like all parents of my friends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's such an iconic event. And ever since I was super little, I would like go up and watch the start of it every year. And so I really want to do that this year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now I'm curious too. I feel like there's like lots of things on the like little Sydney, like young Sydney was already knew what Sierra Zanal was. And the Grand Traverse. Are there any other things in life that you're like, I have always wanted to do this since I was a kid and are like kind of on the possibilities standpoint?
That's a good question. Um, I feel like the Grand Traverse is the biggest one. I have to think about that. Um, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure that there are. Like rafting the Grand Canyon is definitely one of them. Um, oh, yeah. I think yeah, those 3 probably are ones, but yeah, you kind of just talk through stuff and then you're like, "Oh yeah, that's
Grand
like
Canyon,
kind of
Grand Traverse.
yeah."
Yeah.
Really grand things, all the grand things.
No, totally. That's so true. I do feel like there's those things though that you're like you start thinking about it more or you like go and do it and you're like, oh, like I kind of forgot that like this has literally been something that I've like had in the back of my head since I was like 12 years old.
Yeah, before I was even a runner, like playing basketball, I knew what Sears and
Hmm.
all was, and I was like, "Oh, I want to do that someday." But little did I know I'd be like where I am now, actually doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Okay, wrapping up a little bit. If you had to give like if you could give yourself any advice like 5 years ago, what would it be?
That's a really good question. I think like runners are so, and I'm one of these people for sure, like always looking towards the next goal and putting a lot of pressure on outcomes and just like achieving certain things on a certain timeline and needing things to be a certain way. And I think 5 years ago, me
Mm-hmm.
like put a lot of pressure on that stuff and like stressed about things turning out a certain way. And that's something I'm still trying to like become better at, but just like I'm not gonna say trust the process because that's so cliche, but just like be where your feet are and I think be okay with things. Don't need things to be a certain way, I guess. And it'll all turn out well. Like, because it always
Mm-hmm.
does. It might not turn out exactly how you think it
Mm-hmm.
will, but it could turn
Yeah.
out better than you ever expected it. Like if you told 20-year-old me finishing like 120th in a cross country race that I'd be doing the things I would be doing now with my running career, I wouldn't have believed it. And like I put so much pressure on myself, like as a collegiate athlete to perform and be racing these certain times. And little did I know, like, that was so crucial for my development as an athlete, but also like, and that wouldn't have happened without, like, none of the things that have happened since would have happened without those steps. But yeah, just don't need things to be a certain way, and you things can turn out so much better than you could have ever imagined. So
Hmm. Okay, and then follow up. What is like one thing that you have been like, this can be like so many different categories. Like one thing that you've just been like so psyched on. So like mine for this one is there was this like ski movie jazz performance that is like currently on tour around, like I think they have one in Tahoe, Portland, and Seattle, and it's called Noise Ordinance. And it was like a series of ski films that were like incorporating music really heavily into it. And so there was like a couple that it was like there was a ski film playing and like live jazz, like a whole live jazz like band like playing the music over the ski film, and it was like the coolest thing ever. So that's my example. But this could also be like a shoe, a baked good, a bubbly water. You can take it any direction.
so just something I'm excited about that's coming up or like currently in my life.
Just like anything that you're just like psyched on. It's like this is the thing that like if you're like having coffee with someone, it's like, dude, I just found out about this thing. It's like so cool.
Okay. I This is gonna like make me sound so nerdy, and I have like all these old lady habits and like hobbies, but I am obsessed with knitting right now. And I have like, it's such a great thing because you do your training for the day and then you like need to recover. But I like always like to be doing something. And I've been like knitting all these cool sweaters and stuff, and am just getting so into it, and all the different like yarns and patterns and fibers, and like my whole Instagram like feed right now is just like like knitting influencers and sweaters and
Knitting.
stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm also getting an espresso machine um on Black Friday. I have it like in my cart, and
Oh,
so I'm really excited to just
wait,
like
which
have my new
one?
espresso, the Breville Barista something, just like the standard one that you see with the grinder.
Okay.
Um, but I'm like so excited in like 3 weeks to make a cup of coffee with, I make a latte with my new espresso machine, and finish working on the sweater I'm working on because it's so cool. So yeah, that's me.
Can you get this espresso machine on, is it like Amazon Black Friday, or like which Black Friday website do I go to buy that?
Amazon Black Friday.
Okay. Okay, good to know. I
Yes,
might be looking into that.
yes, as you should, fully support
Perfect.
that.
Uh, yeah. And then do you have any last words to leave people with today?
Um, Thank you so much for having me, and go have fun in the mountains with your people. And also, just I think what you're doing with like Wander is so cool, and I can't wait to see what it grows into. And yeah.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. And if you want to stay up to